Man, I'm already dancing. We haven't even played the intro. You know why I'm dancing, Terry? We have a big return today. Who is it?
Well, last week we had Gomi back and Todd back. He's not here this week though. No more Todd. No more Todd. And this week we've got Detective Roberts back. No, we've got the Tio!
Yes, our favorite.
Tight, yeah.
Rah! Okay, yeah, we got to play the clip. Great soundbite. I'm glad we still kept it in. Yes, our favorite bell-wielding, wheelchair-riding, silent type character, Uncle Tio. Uncle Tio. They're the same word. Tio is back. Tuco's Tio, that is back, and so is the Almost Sideshow. My name is Adam, and that is Terry. And today's episode will be the extra legal episode in its entirety. If I can get the words out, I'm trying to play off jokes. They're not working. Anyway, Terry, welcome back, man. How's it going?
It's going good. It's going good. Man, was this a fun episode or what? There's so much that happens in this episode. We've had a lot of characterizations recently, just like character building episodes. This is a character building episode, but through a lot going on at the same time.
Yes. It is. This seems like the back half of the season has been kind of a noir-esque. There's a lot of finding each other out, and I'm a big noir fan. Like, I like kind of these mysteries and how detective type of films like Chinatown is like a brilliant, not that this is kind of a Chinatown-esque, but there is some investigating going on and some investigating questionings and some cat and mouse type stuff with Detective Schrader. Really excited to kind of dive into some of this stuff here. And again, this is a fun episode. It was really hard for me this time to take notes while I was recording because you get that awesome shot. I honestly thought, and this is quite frankly, my wife was like, "What's going on?" I really thought that. I was like, "What are they doing with this opening? We've seen this before." Oh, it's a flashback.
Did you check and be like, "Wait, I started the right episode, right?"
I tried 3 times. Yes. I wish I was lying about that. But seriously, that it did throw me off a little bit. Then I was like, wait a second. So go rewind this podcast back to this original episode when that scene actually did play out. I didn't, and you can probably recall if you were an avid listener to the sideshow, I never saw Mike in the original footage of the original episode. So I actually saw Mike this time. So that was pretty cool. And seeing him kind of sneak out of there, and then all of a sudden you get kind of a douchebag move with Gus going to the Tio and having a sit-down meeting after what actually happened afterward. Really fascinating kind of character stuff, and you can kind of see the rivalry, which you don't really get to see play out in its entirety and why it's such a rivalry until the closing moments of the show. Which brings me to some interesting theories of why the guy is silent. I have thoughts, which I would love to see how it plays out. Only time will tell. But yeah, we saw Gus's partner there for the first time. I think he was referenced a time or two before. So that was interesting to see kind of his rise. And Gus is becoming more and more interesting. Who was he in Chile? That's the biggest question on our minds. But if you don't have anything else, let's just dive into the synopsis because I feel like there's going to be some good conversation to be had here, Terry.
I mean, you almost gave it for me. So let's get into this. you're excited. I can tell. This is an exciting episode.
It was new territory for me to take. So
this is good stuff. This is good stuff. All right. Well, to officially start the episode,
breakdown of Breaking Bad. Oh, yes, crap. Wow.
Yeah, so I know. This is how excited you are. You just want to talk about this episode. You forgot everything. Hey, Adam, when did this episode air?
Oh, that's another thing. Hold on a second. Put your glasses on. September 4th, 2011.
Well, with that,
now it's season 4, episode 8 called Hermanos, which aired September 4th, 2011. And guess what, Terry? It's time to finally break down some Breaking Bad.
There we go.
Breakdown of Breaking Bad. Better late than never.
Nice. Yep. Better late than never. Let's do it.
5 minutes in now. Let's just get going.
Season 4, episode 8. It is entitled Hermanos.
Hermanos.
All right. Here is our synopsis. Gustavo Fring is a busy man, and everyone around him seems on edge. Except for Mike. I don't think anything puts him on edge. Gus gets called in for an interview/interrogation with the DEA and Albuquerque Police Department about Gail's death. He has a great story about a scholarship and reconnection to explain his fingerprints in his apartment. But he has no past before 1989, with no record of him from his native Chile. Everyone seems satisfied, except Hank, who decides to do some investigating of his own with the help of his chauffeur Walter. Since Hank is struggling to get around, he asks Walt to place a location tracker on Gus's car. Walt doesn't want to seem like he's against Gus. Doesn't help that Mike is staring him down while he does it.
Dude, that was such fun.
So he pretends to put the tracker on the car and enters Pollos Hermanos, where he sees Gus for the first time since the box cutter incident. Gus tells him to do it and put the tracker on his car, so he does. Walt instantly tries to explain himself to the security camera in the lab, while also instantly telling Jesse to plant the poison as fast as he can. Jesse claims he hasn't seen him, but a text Walt saw might mean he hasn't been fully truthful to Mr. White. Jesse is also still making sure Andrea and Brock are taken care of through middleman Saul. Speaking of money, Skylar can't launder the money fast enough that Walt is bringing in, so she decides to hide it in clothing storage bags being kept in the crawl space formerly filled with rot.
Oh, thank God you played that joke back. Good job.
Back to Gus. Not only is he dealing with the DEA and Hank and Walt and Jesse, but the cartel business isn't resolved yet either. And it might all stem back to Castillo. Hector Salamanca gets frequent visits from Gus, like to tell him he had his nephews killed and his cartel buddy killed, and to tell him about the cartel dispute going on now. Then we get some backstory. We meet the other chicken brother in Mexico and how the two of them got started. We see how they took a chance to get the cartel's attention and make a deal. How Gus's partner was the cook in more ways than one, while Gus ran the business side. Then we see how Hector Salamanca killed Gus's partner in front of him to send a message. Yeah, Gus and Hector and the cartel have a history. That's it. It's a lengthy summary. Like, that's double the summaries I have been writing because the episodes recently, nothing's been happening. They've been easy to summarize. This one, so much happens.
A lot of moving parts, lots of what have yous, lots of ifs, ands, and buts. Yeah, this is great. We had a driving Miss Daisy situation going on with Hank and Walt, which is a fascinating scene because Mike just pops in and kind of like, "Hello, what are you doing?" And then the do it scene with Gus is awesome. There's a lot of fun stuff here. We get to see the pink sweatshirt pop up kind of again as well with the launder bags. Good thing the rot was gone. I'm glad. I was going to make the joke with the rot too, but I'm glad you brought it up again too. Yeah, you have to. Rot. This was just a really good episode, man. Like I said, it was really hard to. I usually keep my notes going. I pause it a couple of times. This time I paused it and rewound stuff to go back and re-listen to it as I was going through the episode. And I wasn't keeping track of notes. I think I wrote one or two things down. I wrote my extra legal line. I was like, I gotta mention that, and I was like, what is that really a thing? And it is. That's pretty cool. And then I'm trying to think here too. It just kind of being like blown away. It's like Tico's cousin he's back. That's awesome. So I'm looking forward to breaking down each category here too. So Terry, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, like I said, there's so much that happens in this episode. And the thing about this episode that really is fascinating is for the first time, like in the entire show, you could say this episode, the main character is Gus. He
Mhm.
is the main character of this episode. We follow him almost exclusively throughout the episode. Like every episode is, or every scene almost is either with him or about him or related to him. And we finally get some backstory. We finally get to know this character a little more. What makes him tick, why he is who he is, where he comes from, kind of where he comes from. We don't really know where he comes from. Nobody knows where he comes from. I mean, Mike said it. If I can't find it, I doubt they will. Um, so we everything is starting to make some sense. Like that now, think back to last season, and like we get that opening flashback of the hospital scene. Well, remember, like an episode or two before that, Gus sat down and had a sit down with Hector and the cousins.
Mhm.
And think about what that scene meant now that you know the history between Gus and Hector and the tension that like you go back and watch that scene now, the tension between those two is so much greater just because you know this history that they have that you didn't know before. And so you just really get to understand who Gus is, what Gus is all about from this episode. How often he just is sitting there checking the cameras. I thought that was kind of
This is the
fascinating.
first time too. I had a thought when Walter was like, "I swear I did not know he was taking me. I thought we were going to a rock show." I was like, "No, wouldn't it be kind of funny if the camera didn't actually pick up audio?" But
We don't know that,
no,
which is kind of funny.
I think it did pick up the audio because that when there was a scene when he was watching again, at least when it zoomed in when he was like Jesse was walking down the stairs and it showed it, you could hear somebody
Mm,
walking. So I'm assuming it did, but it's still kind of funny. It's like, yeah, what happens if it never picked up audio?
That's a good point. Good
It's
point.
kind of funny.
Yeah,
I'll-
there's just so much in this episode. Yeah,
yeah, and
go ahead.
you actually see Gus kind of arrogant in this episode too, kind of flaunting his superiority over Hector Salamanca in the elderly home that he's in. He's just kind of like, huh, oh yeah, so maybe next time you'll die, type of thing. It's really kind of you really get to see a different side of him. You don't he's usually cool, calm, collected. You see a possible tell or a crack in his armor as well in the elevator where his hands to doing the little twitch too. He's like, oh, he's trying to
First little sign of emotion from him.
yes, and then like I said, like you when you do see um you don't get to see it like too much in the first flashback, but the second time you see him sitting down with Hector, you can see kind of like he comes across a little more arrogant, a little more cocky because he has a little smile on his face too, which I think is kind of interesting. Like he
Yeah.
has one over on him.
Okay. Let's get into this because I think there's a bunch that we can talk about here. Best scene of the episode. I got like 3 written down because this episode was awesome. Just
Oh,
overall great. But what do you have as the best scene?
it is definitely Skylar laundering the money, right? No, that's probably
Laundering the money in the laundry.
yes, and
Yes.
that she thought that pole was gonna. That's an anti-stick man, by the way. That closet.
I like
If
it. I like
yeah,
it.
if that freaking fly swatter was an anti-stick man, that closet rod definitely is not a sturdy piece of wood. But no, the actual best scene, I there's a couple, man. I really want to just talk about like the driving Miss Daisy stuff. The put the camera on the car, but we kind of talked about that a little bit too. It's just a great scene, but it's definitely when Gus gets called into the police station with Hank. He's sitting there, and you look over to the like. Have you seen this man? It's Deadeye. It's Deadeye, and he knows, and he's like,
Right?
and then you can see where he a little panicky, a little bit. I don't think he actually knew why he was being called in there, honestly, until he saw that poster on the wall, and then he saw Hank there, and he's like, "Oh crap, what's going on exactly here?" And I think do you think that story was kind of like that's what the story always was going to be, or was it more on the fly?
I think he had an idea that he had to have something, and the fact that he could, and that's the interesting part, is he was able to, and this is why Gus is so brilliant.
Hmm.
He was able to put together a story that was legit and had serious background to it, from with Gale. Like, he had like a backup plan. Like, if this goes south, I have a legit reason for knowing this man.
Hmm.
And he could pull it out of his back pocket when he needed it. Which makes you wonder, what's his backstory for Walt? Well, Walt we kind of know, right? Because he's friends with the DEA, and it's Hank's brother-in-law. So he's got a, oh yeah, I know him. I've met him. I can. People have seen me associate with him.
I've met him at the hospital and shook his hand.
Exactly. Now shake my hand. So I think he always had that story in his back pocket because he has to have legit reasons for knowing his illegitimate associates
Yeah, that makes
because he's that smart.
logical. That's
And
logical.
and that totally makes sense too. Like Gail Bedecker, I mean, why was he his chemist? It's because he gave him a scholarship and paid for him to go to school, right? He handpicked this guy. It's like, this guy's the best I can find, and I'm going to pay for his school, and then he's going to come work for me.
Hmm. Yeah, very, very true. Yeah, that's a great scene having like Gomi and Pink's boss and Tim, right? Yeah, it's Tim. Yeah,
I think it's Tim.
yeah, and having all three of those guys like, yeah, I buy that story. I buy it. And it's like, why did you? Is that your? That's this Gustavo Fring. Is that your name? Is that your real name?
I think really, yeah. Well, it just like he pulled the Columbo there. It's like, I think we're done. No, wait, no. That's right. I got one more. Question. I forgot. Is Gustavo Fring your real name? And like, and he's so calm, and you get the idea that Hank realizes he's in there in an advisory role. He's kind of on thin ice because of how things, and like, this is the first official thing he's done since he
Thank
kicked the crap out of Jesse, right? Because
Yeah, good
he had
point.
his gun and badge taken, and that afternoon is when uh he got
Shot.
attacked by the Salamanca twins.
Yeah. Which,
So
which
yeah, so he's, you can tell he's being very reserved. He's taking his time with everything to make sure he does it right and doesn't show any emotion, because that's what got him in trouble.
mhm. And we also, I forgot too, bringing that up. We also can get confirmed that it was Gus who called Hank before the attack, which Hank gave the twins to Hank, said, "Hey, go attack this guy instead." And then he gave Hank the warning, which I don't know. I don't know if we actually discussed if it was Hank or somebody, but still, I thought that was pretty
It
cool.
was Gus, or so, yeah. So we hear it was Gus because that's the only way Gus would know
Yeah,
that happened. Yeah. Um,
good. Yeah,
that I had Gus's interrogation written down. We did talk a little bit about Walt and Hank, and especially when when Hank is asking Walt to put the tracker, and then Mike just pulls up behind Hank, and, and so Walt is looking at both of them at the same time.
he just randomly pulls up the paper. He's like, "This son of a gun." I'm just gonna read the paper right now.
You know what you're doing, Walter.
Yeah,
Uh, and then it leads to Gus, and like the shock on Walt's face, like, it's Gus. He's right here. Do it.
where's my soda?
Yeah, and then of course, where's my soda? That was another one. And then, okay, we have to break down this closing flashback because there's so much going on there. You've got hints at it the whole time, right? The bloody pool that we see kind of over and over and over again. We see the cartel boss. We see Hector showing what kind of psychopath he was when he was at his height, which we've seen young Hector once before, right? When he was almost drowned one of the twins when he was a kid.
In a pool.
Um,
Yeah.
in a cooler.
Yeah, it was a cooler. Yeah, in a pool.
Yeah. And then the other guy that's there was the boss that Gus had killed.
Cartel guy, right? Yeah.
Yeah, the cartel guy. What was his name was Juan Bolsa.
Juan Bolsa, yeah.
Which is who Gus mentions to Hector when he goes and sees him the first time, and tells him, "Your nephews have been killed," and Hank got a call, and who might know something about that call is Juan Bolsa, but he was just gunned down by the Federales, and it's like, yeah, what? I mean,
So I'm assuming like because they killed his partner, like it's like the Gus revenge tour. Like obviously, I think something he's going to kill the main boss or he's going to do something to get the main boss in trouble or kill him or something. Do something to that guy, and then it's just a long live the revenge tour. Like now he's kind of has something to play. Now he's going to be in charge of Juan Bosa, and finally just going to play like wait the situation out, and then they'll want to take care of Juan Bosa, and then now he's just going to keep like. Because now Hector can't do anything, so he's basically just kind of hold everything over his head. That's why he's like so arrogant or something like that. Like in those meetings, it's interesting. It's such an interesting like layer to Gus.
Well, and how that goes down explains everything moving forward.
Yeah.
Because why did he cross the border into New Mexico? Well, because the cartel killed his partner. He had to get out, right? He had to expand across the border. He couldn't do business south of the border anymore, so he became the cartel in America. And then, why does he need Walt? Well, his cook. Why does he need Gale? His partner was his cook. Like that, he was the one. He was the chemist. He's the one that took care of all that. So he can do the business. He's got the whole business model set up. He just needs the cook, and so. That's why he needed Gale. That's why he needs Walt. He needs someone to actually do the production.
Yeah.
Because his production got cut off. And the whole point of that, like, that was a risky move. Like, this was Gus when he was young, a little arrogant, and took risks. Because they started just handing out samples at the restaurant.
It's Costco, apparently.
Because he knew it would get the cartel's attention, and he wanted to partner with the cartel. So how's he going to do that? He's going to hand out samples, and they're going to notice, and that's going to get him a sit-down meeting. It was a risky move, and it didn't work, which is why Gus is so careful now.
Good point.
Why doesn't he work with questionable people? Because the last time he did, it was Hector Salamanca, and he shot his partner. So like there's reasons
there's more
everything Gus does in that one scene.
It is more multi-layered than I originally gave it credit for. That's awesome. There's a lot more like layers to it just thinking about it now. I know you've seen it a couple times, or at least one more time before this, but it's so cool to kind of think about like all the different layers that this one scene has to offer, and it builds so much of Gus's character too.
And it's showing the one time he shows some emotion is when he gets to gloat to Hector Salamanca. Is when he gets to sit before him and be like, "You pathetic old man stuck to this chair. Let me tell you what I'm doing. Let me tell you how I'm ruining everything that matters to you.
Is today
Your
the day?
nephews are dead. Juan Bolsa's dead. It is today the day. Like he gloats to him in a way that he can't do to anybody else. But that's because he can't do anything about it, and he is the one that has caused the most pain in his life.
Yeah, I like it. A good call. Great scene. One of the best scenes of this season, I think, for sure.
All right, Ken wins Bogdan Douchebag Award. Goes to.
There's a couple options here. I kind of want to say Walter, because of that one guy in the chemo getting it that who's also going through cancer, who's going to get his the PET scan. It's kind of a mid conversation. Hold on, I gotta take this. Call somebody.
That was a total douche move. Yeah.
But I'm gonna go with Pinochet. His record keeping's horrible. It's a Chilean thing, but yeah, it's a Chilean thing. So they don't actually talk. Do they tell you what Gus was in Chile? Do they ever talk? I know that's kind of maybe a spoiler, but it is fascinating. They never actually so far haven't shared anything, especially well, don't worry, you won't. They can't find anything. Mike's they haven't found it. If they haven't found anything, if I can't find anything, they're not gonna find anything. It's such under wraps. Wouldn't it be crazy if Gus actually worked, was part of that bad record keeping? So of course he could disappear. He deleted all the records.
Well, this is the first time we hear that he was Chilean at all,
Yeah,
right?
I just think that's so. You don't know what's going on with him, so it's it could be he could be anything in Chile.
I honestly don't remember if there is an answer to that question.
But it's interesting to think about. It would be kind of awesome if but it would also be cool if you don't know ever.
True. All right. My douchebag, it's Hector Salamanca. He just walks in, he pisses in the pool. It's like the boss is gonna be furious. He doesn't care. I can do whatever the hell I want.
Yeah.
And at first, when he takes the shot, he takes it from so far. It's like, did he just go rogue and just take? No, it was a called shot. But still, he acts like he is you can tell, he's like the Sonny Corleone of this operation, right? He's the hot head that can blow off the handle and he's unpredictable. And he's a wild card, but he is also quite the douchebag.
Mm-hmm. Good call. I like it.
The Pinkman Stickman Award.
Okay, the tracking device. Jesus, want me to beg you? Just stick it in already. The tracker is the Stickman. It gets it in.
Well, and you gotta, and not only that, but you have to collect it afterwards and stick it into a computer. So
yeah, so multiple
you get that off it. So multiple entries there. Yeah. That's a good call. I think. Okay. I had trouble coming up with something for this, but I'm gonna theoreticize here a little bit. I think that's the word I want to use. I'm gonna say Pinkman Stickman is Los Pollos Hermanos. Okay, there's something going on there. There is a tension there beyond just brotherhood or close friends.
They're
serious
partners.
And I mean, we haven't seen anything in any way, shape or form from Gus so far, right? He has no one lives with him. He lives alone. We've seen no girl, we've seen no wife, we've seen no nothing. He is single. Is he single because the love of his life was murdered in front of his eyes? I mean, it would you put it past him?
No.
Is there an added dynamic there? If you watch that scene, there's a tension there that is more than it's more than just this is my business partner. He loved that man.
Mm-hmm. That's a good call, but it would also prove the fact that you don't the business that they're in, you don't have loved ones because they're only gonna kind of hinder your decisions. I dig it. That's a really respectable call.
All right, best new face. Hey, that's Danny Trejo. I'll go first because mine is James Martinez as Max Arciniega, who is the other chicken brother.
Yes.
And I think I was looking him up. He's been in a few other things. He was in like 9 episodes of House of Cards.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've actually seen him in anything as I looked at his filmography, but he does have that familiar face.
Yeah.
So I'm going with him.
That's a good call. While we're here on the fly, this is not my fact. I did not know this going in. I read this. Who's the actor that played Crazy 8? Do you remember? Can you look that up real quick?
Oh, is it the same guy?
It's the same name.
Is it?
The partner is named after the guy who plays Crazy 8. Same name.
Max?
Yeah. The partner's name is Max with the same last name, and that's the actor who plays Crazy 8's name.
That's blowing my mind right now.
I read this. I was reading this on the wiki when I got the date of the episode. One of the trivia facts was that was intentional.
So the character
of the partner
is named after
the
Crazy
actor,
Eight's.
Crazy 8's actor's name. Isn't that nuts?
Oh my word, that is.
Yeah, Breaking Bad wiki. Check out the base of the episode.
I'm looking it up. There he is, Max Arciniega. And he looks like him too.
Isn't that crazy?
That could be like they could be brothers or dad or something. That is cool. That is cool. I love this show. Little nods like that are just awesome.
Crazy, and that proves that Crazy 8 is awesome after so many years.
Even though we haven't seen him since what, episode
3,
or something like that. Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Okay, who's your best new face?
Gary, the other patient, maybe his name is Michael Sheets. He was in like Sicario, the Ethan Hawke movie Good Kill, the Jamie Lannister actor from Game of Thrones, Shot Caller. He was also in that movie called Shot Caller. He was in that movie, I guess. He's been in a couple things. Just he has that recognized kind of. He hasn't lost his hair yet, so he kind of. I don't know. It's obviously the other chicken brother here, but that if you had to pick somebody new, that was another speaking part that was different. I did miss though my Los Pollos Hermanos store manager. I believe her name was.
She wasn't there this time. She wasn't there.
Second time they've been in this restaurant and she hasn't been there. Like, what happened? Is she on probation? Did she get transferred? Is she a GM now? What's going on?
He was teaching a high schooler how to work the fry machine. So
yeah, that guy. Yeah.
Okay, now I think this was the first time we saw Don Eladio, the cartel boss. That was another one I was thinking of mentioning.
Possibly, yeah, I don't know.
I think I saw he was like in Scarface. Like he's like been around for a while. So that's another one.
It definitely plays kind of like it has similar themes to Scarface with like the two different, like somebody trying to get the attention of somebody a higher power, then kind of takes over. It's very cinematic. I watched Scarface for the first time this year, so it's very similar themes. It says, "Say hello to my little friend. It's taste my chicken." That's essentially what it is. I say that with a straight face too.
Taste my chicken.
Taste my chicken.
All right. Go me minor character. I've got Juan Bolsa, just because it's fun to get those little callbacks of he's in this scene. It's like they pulled him out and put him in this random flashback and de-aged him. Like the fact that Breaking Bad just pulls out these random guys and then names a character after an actor from the first couple episodes. I mean,
it's pretty cool. Huh?
Awesome. Yeah, I'm going Juan Bolsa. It was cool to see him back.
Yeah, it was great to see Uncle Tio. Yeah, the Tio. Two Coast Tio is awesome. He's just great to see back here. Also,
look at me.
Yeah, the minor character also could go to Gus Fring's Twitch. That could be the Twitch of Gus Fring. Could be a character with all of its own. I'm trying to think other minor character. Not a minor character is that high schooler who just definitely messed up the left some particles on the machinery. Has to go do a rewash. If you're teaching your kids how to do the load the dishwasher, you'll definitely have to go have them rewash several things. So that's what that reminded me of. Yeah, Marie possibly going to management, but she's kind of on that. We're not talking about her as a minor character no more. That's kind of cool. But yeah, it's the TO. You got to go with the TO here.
I like it. Cowhouse, dumbest thing said. What do you got? I've got a few.
See, this is where I kind of forgot the dumbest thing. I thought there was nothing dumb said in this episode, honestly. But they like what they see. That was pretty. His delivery,
yeah.
I'm like, yeah, that's a douchebag thing to say. And you're peeing in a pool, bro. Come on.
Yeah. I've got a couple things Hank said as he's telling, or no, one thing Hank said when he's telling Walt the story, and Gus has this story, and he was like, he just killed us in there. Like, he had this story. He was like terms of endearment convincing. The movie shout outs are always good. And then you have Mike with a little bit of snark. Like, he's acting on his own. He's like Miss Daisy with binoculars.
Mm-hmm.
It's just him, his credit card, and his chauffeur Walter.
It's pretty good. His chauffeur Walter.
And then the other thing I love is when Walt goes to Jesse and is like, my DEA brother-in-law Hank is on to Gus. It's like, you know what that would mean? And Jesse goes, yeah, plus douchebag to minus douchebag equals 0 douchebags. Why would that be a bad thing?
Oh, yeah. Good thing too.
It's like, that was it's good. And
Yeah.
It's like, it's algebra, bro.
Algebra, bro. Good call.
I thought that was good. Okay, you have any problems? Anything outdated? I have the tracker device. Like, the fact that you've got to go back and get it and plug it into a computer, and yeah, it's from Sky Mall. Like, come on. Like,
well, I'll be in the just being transparent here. When they said Sky Mall, I was like, is there a Sky Mall in Albuquerque? And I realized I was like, oh, wait a second, that's the Airplane magazine. I'm a dummy. God damn it. Anyway,
so outdated we don't even remember what Sky Mall is.
Yeah, there we go. Jesse has clearly a computer game in his house, but he's never seen playing a computer game. He has an Xbox, so when he's like in there before Walt checks the phone, it pans above the TV and they're kind of watching him. And over at the shot, you can see Rainbow Six Vegas, Rainbow Six, one of the Rainbow Six games from Tom Clancy. Clearly a computer game there, but he doesn't have a computer that he plays stuff on. So I don't know that we know of. So yeah, I don't know that's stretching. I just wanted to point out Rainbow Six. That's kind of a fun game. It's really hard. But anyway, the one scene I picked out was when they're at Los Polos Hermanos. Walt and Hank are clearly having a conversation, and they kind of do this thing where they're really up inside the car talking, and then they pull out a little bit. And when they pull out a couple times, Hank's talking, but his lips ain't moving. Okay. He's talking, but his lips ain't.
So slight editing error.
Yes, So
okay.
There's that, but that's pretty much what I got. Like, I'm stretching on some of them because I was too fast.
You're just fascinated by the episode.
I'm usually this is kind of usually your territory, but yeah, I just kind of was glued to the episode. So
the flaws are Adam was too invested in the episode to remember to do the opening right.
Did I mess it up? I don't remember. Breakdown of Breaking Bad. Oh, jeez, yeah. Yeah, good call. That's why I'm here, folks. Just play them all. Just go ahead.
I love those redheads.
Yeah, just do it.
End it now. That's the ending.
All right. Midlife crisis moment.
That tracksuit and the flip flops that the guy has on, the cartel guy. Hell yeah.
He was rocking it.
He was like, it's me. Yeah. He's definitely a GTA villain. That's what I'm saying.
I love it.
He's definitely from GTA.
Yes, tracksuits and flip flops. Actually, not a bad. It's all about the comfort, really.
Yeah.
All right, my midlife crisis moment is when you realize you might be around someone else who's nerdy about the same thing, and you kind of let your nerd flag fly a little. And this pops up when Walt is driving Hank to the Rock and Mineral show, and he just starts going off on the collection he had as a kid, and he's like, "Oh, but I had this one piece." It's like, but the rest of it, I mean, I had a lot of this, and I had a lot of this, and then there was this, and
Hey,
I
buddy.
mean, but you're gonna like this. I had this one. It's like, well, there's no rock show. Oh,
yeah. Oh.
I don't get to talk rocks. Like, Walt was legit excited to go to this Rock and Mineral show. You know he was. And then he found out it didn't exist. By the way, outdated the fact that nobody looked up online if this Rock and Mineral show was actually happening, because you would find it online. I mean, internet existed in 2010 or whenever this is taking place. Why I don't know why anybody didn't. No one did that, but anyways.
Mm-hmm. Good point.
That's my midlife crisis moment. Okay, LVP. I'm going first. Walt's performance under pressure. He completely just like flops and has no idea what he's doing.
Got the cold sweat going. And
yeah. He gets this cold sweat. I mean, I don't know how Hank didn't completely just see. It's like, dude, what is wrong with you? Just do this little thing for me. You are freaking out right now. And then he sees Gus. It's like, you're right in front. I didn't do it. I'm not gonna do it. He's like, do it. But
do it.
I was gonna kill you next time I saw you, and now here you are, and I'm protecting you. Like he just completely, and then he has to go explain himself. I didn't mean it. I didn't know what I was doing. Trust me on this. I would never try to hurt you. And like, dude, just quit. Just quit.
Yeah, good call.
All right, what's your LVP?
Peeing in pools.
Oh, yes.
It's a low-hanging fruit, but yeah, peeing in pools.
That's a good call. All right,
public urination also too, probably.
MVP is Gus's poker face. I mean, he is terms of endearment convincing. He has that story right off the top. He had no idea what was going to be what he was in there for, and he knew what he was doing. He's the one that brought up Gail's name.
Mm-hmm.
He knew what was going on, and he had this, and like he exact opposite of Walt, right? He was under pressure and performed admirably. So that's my MVP.
Yeah, that's a good call. MVP coming up on the fly here. Let's see here. MVP. I think that.
Oh, I forgot about this.
Yeah, I might have. I won't tell you if I did or not while we're recording anyway.
I'm kind of nervous now.
MVP for this episode. It is a Gus-centric episode. I think it's kind of really hard not to have Gus as the obvious answer here. I think the Gus's career trajectory, his career path.
That's the word. That works.
It's the same thing. His career path, Gus's career path is the MVP because he started from the bottom, now he's here. So
I see what you did there. All right. Well, we've talked a little bit about what you think is happening next, but the Walter White body count is currently at 1 Emilio, 1 Crazy 8, 1 car, 1 custodian's career, 1 Tuco hideout, 1 lock, 1 uneaten burrito, 1 paper towel holder, rot, 1 back door to Jesse's house, 1 love of Jesse's life, a few burned $100 bills, 1 pepperoni pizza, 1 career in education, 1 meth making RV, 1 beginning of a Galeful friendship, 1 fly, 2 kid killing drug dealers, 1 Gail Bedecker, 1 fateful bottle of wine, 3 laundry worker jobs, and 1 Walter Jr. dream car. And the Jesse ass kicked count is currently at 8.5. Oh, I forgot to do the math on this because I forgot I added in a half. So currently, the math says he gets his ass kicked once every 4.8 episodes. I forget why we said he a half for the last episode.
Because he. Oh god, this is gonna be turned into an Adam gets a point from power rankings and gets it taken away again because we don't remember why.
From the last episode where he like did something
He-
to himself.
Yeah, he hit himself, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
I
I'm
don't
not
remember.
sure. I don't know.
I
I know why. He emotionally beats himself up in the meeting.
there we go. That was it.
Put that down so we don't act like we. So at least we know what we're talking about going forward. Write that down.
Self-emotional harm.
Emotional damage, as it were.
What's going to happen next?
I think it would be really interesting. How does Hector Salamanca not able to talk anymore? Has it been established that it's a stroke? Like, how come we can't talk?
I think that they said that he had a stroke. I want to say like when back in like season 2 when they brought him in to try and use him as a witness for for what happened in the desert and Tuco and Jesse and all of that.
I mean, he pooped his pants.
And he pooped his pants. I want to say in like the introduction to him, like he's like OG cartel. Like I think when Gomi was talking about, I think they might have mentioned there was a stroke or an aneurysm or something like that he survived, but it left him with just the bell.
So if I'm thinking correctly, if you killed the guy's partner, obviously he goes to America, which would follow the timeline a little bit, and he's slowly kind of getting revenge on the people. Right, we don't know how the head cartel guy, whatever happens to him, quite yet. At least I don't think we do. I think this is the first time we see him. So I'm assuming Gus has to have done something to him to make Gus and Hector on the same kind of playing level in a sense, and that the cartel guy has to answer, who's also dead, Bosa, that he also has to kind of like communicate with as well. So figuring out what happens to that I'm assuming they have to expand the relationship a little bit more with the head cartel guy who wears the slides with the jumpsuit. And then also, I think it would be kind of fascinating, but also somehow like Gus had something to do with that stroke with Hector. So basically, it's like, yeah, you killed my partner. Now you're gonna have to be speechless for the rest of your life, and that I've done something chemically to you. It'd be kind of interesting if that ever happened. But at the same time, what is this big hidden thing in his past and in Chile, and what is Hank going to do to kind of provoke more with Gus? 'Cause I'm assuming he's not going to stop. I'm assuming he's going to like figure out that tracker. God dang it, Adam. The tracker didn't move once they plug it into the computer. Anyway, yeah. So anyway, on the episode of Hermanos, I had some Doritos. So anyway, yeah, I think that's a good like thought process, and I think the bigger question is, where's Wendy in all of this? I think that's what we really Miss Wendy.
It's Wendy.
That's probably a top 5 opening of the show. Gotta love it.
I agree.
But
get a root beer.
Yeah, get a root beer. And then just seeing like Walter trying to I get the show is trying to split Jesse and Walter apart because that's what Gus is playing it. But I feel like the show has always been really good when those guys are on the same page, and we need to see them somehow get on the same page about something. So I don't know how we get there. That's the thing. It's just I feel like you have 2 different paths right now, and we don't get to see them on the same page all too often. The only time we ever see them together now is when they're cooking, and they kind of just split. on their own separate thing. So I want to see them,
which is by design from Guts, right?
Yeah, it is. So something has to eventually at some point, because we are getting closer to the end of the season, and we're what? How
5
many
episodes? We got 5 left.
5 episodes of this season plus what, like maybe about 20-ish, roughly, give or take, you would say?
I think we had 21 episodes left. The last season is 16 episodes.
Okay, so about 21 episodes. So at some point, I'm assuming next season they take down Gus at some point. So they would. I'm hoping it's sooner that they get on the same page to work this out. So I don't know. Well, we shall see. But I think the main thing we need to focus on, because it's what happens to that cartel guy and Gus. What's his like retaliation to it? So that's what I kind of want to know.
All right.
I don't know.
Some interesting thoughts. I'm not going to say a word because this is going to be fun.
Well,
it's going to be fun.
All right. Well, my name is Adam. That's Terry, not saying a word. Until next time, we will be missing Wendy. I don't think she's going to be popping up anytime soon, but we will be talking about, does Walter go to a rock show with Hank at some point in the near future? Only time
They're minerals, Adam.
Oh, God dang it. Yeah,
you know what's funny, though? I'm pretty sure Hank referred to it as a rock show because he doesn't care anymore. Like, when that was his life. There were minerals. Now they're just rocks.
It's on a rock show. There's something going on right now.
Yeah,
we're on a stakeout with chicken.
Exactly. No rocks.
So anyway, yeah, I'm glad you started talking again because that's awesome. What do we do to close every episode out, Terry?
Breakdown of Breaking Bad.
And we sit and spin.